Perhaps the most overlooked and undervalued piece of evidence, in my estimation, that does not support the Saugeen Band's land claim of Sauble Beach is the Special Fishery License. This document is only briefly mentioned in the Ballantyne Report. Indigenous and Northern Affairs Canada makes no mention of its existence at all. This could be the one document that initially and circumstantially led the Saugeen Band to believe that they have a case for claiming Sauble Beach at all. However, misinterpretation and the passing of time is what most likely misled the Saugeen Band to make assumptions that are not correct. Whether the Saugeen Band of today are aware of its existence at all, I am not sure. The Special Fishery License was issued to the Saugeen Band in 1874 for a sum of $10 paid seasonally for the right to fish in a particular area, which is described as follows. The herein named Saugeen Band of Indians, residents of Saugeen, in consideration of payment on the 25th June, 1874, of the sum of $10, are licensed during the year 1874 as occupants for the purposes of carrying on fisheries, of the fishing station situate and described as follows. The Seine ground extending from Chief's Point on the north side of River Au Sable on the shore of Lake Huron, down to the division line between lots 26 and 25 in Concession D of the Township of Amabel, with limits extending 5 miles into the lake in front of said fishery station. This description begs the question, why did the Saugeen Band need a special fishery license in 1874, just 20 years after the signing of Treaty 72? And why did they have to pay for it to include the fishing area from the Sauble River to Lot 2526, if their reserve extends to mid-Lot 31 the way Indigenous and Northern Affairs Canada claims, or if it extends to the Sauble River the way the Saugeen Band claims? The most obvious answer is that they did not own this territory, as we have already discovered through examining Treaty 72 and Rankin's survey maps. So, supported by the Special Fishery License as early as 1874, we know that the Saugeen Reserve's northern boundary has once again been accepted by all, uncontested, as terminating at the division line of Lot 2526. In 2014, a reporter asked Gary Penner, Enact's lawyer, why the wrong boundary was used to mark the northern boundary of the Saugeen Reserve, referring to the Lot 2526 dividing line as the wrong boundary. He responded by saying, years passed, land encroachments were gradual, and Rankin's original map was forgotten. Let's examine this answer a little closer. The earliest patented lot is Lot 28 in 1858, and the next one is not until 1881. So who is doing all this gradual land encroaching that Mr. Penner is talking about from 1854 to 1874? And how, in just 20 years since the signing of Treaty 72, does the Saugeen Band accept paying $10 a season for territory they supposedly already own? Further investigation shows that the Saugeen Band actually recorded in their council minutes as being aware that the area between lots 25-26 to the Sauble River had been surrendered. They passed a resolution on September 17, 1883, that John Creighton, our Indian agent, be and is hereby requested to ask the department to have Sauble Beach Fishing Station given back to this band. This is undeniable evidence that the band is aware that the area between Lot 2526 and the Sauble River was surrendered, since the Special Fishery License is precise in the description of the Sauble Fishing Station as being the area between the Sauble River and Lot 2526. The reason the Saugeen natives of 1883 wanted the strip of beach from Lot 26 to the Sauble River back was because the lots were being bought and settled, and the purchasers were interfering with the band's fishing operations. The band was not motivated by, or most likely even aware of, the post theory at Lot 31, put forth by present-day's Indigenous and Northern Affairs Canada as the reason for trying to get the fishing station back. The Saugeen Band was entitled to fish in the water in front of these lots by way of the Special Fishery License, but now that the lots were being settled, they could not land and cure their fish without trespassing on the lots. something they had not experienced up until then. This is not only proof that the Saugeen Reserve does not and never did extend past the division line of Lot 25-26, but it is also proof that the lots from 26 to 31 extended to the water's edge, a fact that Anak denies. It would appear John Creighton acted on behalf of the Saugeen Band previous to this resolution and contacted Mr. Plummer, who took the request to the department and addressed the concern in the following letter dated March 1882. Referring to my letter of this date relative to the Saugeen Indian fishery, I have the honor to report that my attention has been called to the fact that some of the lots between lots 24 and 34 in Concession D in the township of Amabel have been sold for actual settlement, and that some of the purchasers thereof have interfered with the Indians in their fishing operations. The Indians' fishing ground is in front of these lots, and they cannot carry out their work without trespassing thereon. I would beg to suggest that the department would repurchase ownership averaging about 1 chain wide across these lots, as to those already sold and any yet unsold should be disposed of with this reservation. The object would be not to prevent the settler free access to the water, but to secure the right to the Indians to land and cure their fish. The land is valueless along the shore for farming purposes, as it is altogether a bank of sand. But unless the right of our Indians to the free use thereof, I fear some day there will be prevented carrying on their fishing operations, on which their very existence so much depends. From my research, there is some ambiguous and convoluted correspondence that followed, but it would seem obvious that nothing was ever done to allow for a 66-foot strip along the beach in which the band could land and cure fish, since in my own Crown patent of Lot 26, patented 14 years after Mr. Plummer's letter was written, there is no mention of such a reservation. Nor is there any mention in any of the other Crown patents from Lot 27 to 31. Also, the special fishery license was renewed and used until 1884, 2 years after the letter from Mr. Plummer. Even if an allowance had been established, the strip was not intended to be created as a title of ownership for the Saugeen Band, only as a means for them to land and cure fish, and not to disallow free access to the settlers. We have already discussed the Saugeen Reserve's eastern boundary extension line and how it travels through the water of Lake Huron from Lot 26 to 31. Treaty 72 begins its description of the Saugeen Reserve as all that block of land. So how could a boundary line include Lake Huron? We also know that the band essentially acknowledged the surrender of the area between lots 25-26 to the Sauble River in their band council minutes of September 1883. We know that the band paid $10 annually between 1874 and 1884 for the right to fish in this area. We know Rankin placed the northern boundary of the Saugeen Reserve at the dividing line of Lot 25-26 on all of his maps, and we know that the map with the northeast angle Indian Reserve notation was not the final map. We know that the treaty was interpreted and followed correctly, considering Rankin was present at the signing of the treaty, which would mean there is not a boundary issue at all. We also know that the Crown patents extended the lots to the water's edge. How much proof does the town and the private landowners need to discredit one seemingly ambiguous notation on a draft map which was never submitted to Indian Affairs? What actual concrete evidence does Indigenous and Northern Affairs Canada have to support the Saugeen Band's claim to the beach from Lot 26 to the midpoint of Lot 31, other than the weak notion that the northeast angle Indian Reservation notation is referring to the Saugeen Reserve's north boundary? Wouldn't it be in everyone's best interest for Gary Penner to come back to Sauble Beach and have a town hall forum in which the residents ask the questions to which he should have to give straight answers? In light of the abundance of evidence that Mr. Penner did not provide, would it not only be right? If Anak has such an ironclad case, Why did they feel it necessary to mislead, deceive, and outright lie to the residents of South Bruce Peninsula in their presentation meetings of 2014? Thank you for watching this presentation. For more information about the Sauble Beach Native Land Claim, please follow my blog at saublelandclaim.blogspot.ca. Thank you.